So I'm going to cover a topic that a lot of people ask me, from clients to athletes, coaches, professors. They go through this thought of, Jorge, what goes through your mind, when you think about this movement that you do, that um, most of them are not even in the book. I mean, do you make this up? What's the purpose? And those are legitimate questions, and I'm going to address it. I'm going to finally going to address it. I do it in summits and conferences, but I'm going to do it, in front of the camera. And the reason is very simple. Uh, you know, you go through experience in life, and that's how you learn. Well, at least that's one way of learning, and I'm no exception. So when I finally, became, or had the opportunity to be part of the Puerto Rico national judo team back in the 80s, when I was granted to be part of the national team and participate in the Olympic Games, 1984 in Los Angeles, I was sent to different places around the world to train. And one of those places were the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. And my daily responsibility or training duties were to do weightlifting in the morning, or be at the gym in the morning, and do judo practice, at night. And at first, everything went well. Everything, felt good. But over time, I started, noticing some aches and pains, and specifically about what was going on in the gym. I was told to do, the basic, barbell movement that, as we all know, is the traditional, back squat, front squat, clean and jerk, snatches, barbell deadlift, bench press, all those lifts. And I started questioning, because I was feeling some aches and pain. Yes, I was getting strong. I wanted to believe that I was getting strong and I was getting explosive, but I started also, feeling discomfort in my joints, and even visiting the physical therapist at the Olympic Training Center just to alleviate these symptoms. So I even asked my coaches, what's going on, and they said, well, this is the way we do it. This is the way we train, and it is in the it is in the National Strength and Conditioning book, that those are the lift. So this is one of few books that it is utilized around the world to teach strength and conditioning. And the movement promoted in this book is pretty much, based on bodybuilding, Olympic lifting, and powerlifting. And with reason, because the argument is that if you want to get strong, you have to perform ground-based movements, like, for example, the Olympic lift, powerlifting movement, and some bodybuilding movement. But here's the thing. Those are sports. Bodybuilding, Olympic lifting, and powerlifting by itself, those are sports. And as I was going through my training, I realized, I said, you know what? I've been learning 3 different sports in addition to the sport of judo. That was the reason why I was training for. Okay? And as sports, they are concerned to win. That's the ultimate goal, is to win. Winning on stage, okay, showing proportional muscles, winning by being explosive, by lifting a lot of weight from the ground up, like, the clean and jerk and the snatch. And in powerlifting, you win by lifting as much weight, doing squats, deadlift, and bench press. You get strong, there's no argument there. You're going to get strong. Yes, you're going to get explosive. But there's some flaws. The flaws? Gaps. What I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here is that most of these movements, all these movements, don't cover all the lines of resistance or vectors that matters for other athletes or non-weightlifting athletes, okay, or let's say first responders that perform movement not even related to the three sports. My point is that most of these movements are performed in the vertical axis, which is 100% gravitational, and that's how they win. Okay, and some of these movements are performed in a horizontal line of resistance or vector. But there's very little or none that combine, none of these lifts combine the relationship of the vertical and the horizontal line of resistance, which is diagonal. It's the product or the resultant of using these two. For example, sprinting, coming out of the block, a broad jump, okay, changing direction. Those are visual examples of combining gravity and friction to produce that diagonal force line. Can you train that in the weight room? Can you load it? Absolutely you can. Okay? So, in this model, okay, even though you get strong, but because there's some gaps, that's the reason why you start feeling some aches and pain. Okay? Neck, shoulder, elbows, wrists, knees, back. And coaches usually say, you know, you got to stretch more. You got to work on your skill more. You know, it's like you have to do too much because it's a skill. Okay? It's a skill that you need to learn. But do you really need to rely on this sport to be strong? No. No, you don't. These are sports-based movements that were never designed to win. I mean, were never designed to define or enhance athletic performance. They were designed to win. So the challenge is, instead of using body-based or sports-based movements to get stronger, it's about selecting or incorporating body weight-based movements. That's the key. What that means is that you can be strong without the aches and pain or the side effect from sports-based movement. In other words, sports-based movements are not sustainable. Let me show you why. As you get stronger, okay, and you start developing these aches and pain, who comes into the picture? Chiropractors, physical therapists. And they start incorporating corrective exercises, as then that's their job, to try to fix the problem. But they're not really fixing the problem. They are treating the symptoms. Fixing the problem would be to look in depth about this sports-based movement and change it to body weight-based movements. So you can squat, you can perform, all these powerful lifts, but eliminating unnecessary joint stress. So you can get strong without the pain, and that creates longevity, vitality, sustainability. We call it balanced strength. So let me give you an example of how we think, or our approach to utilize, instead of utilizing sports-based movement, we think more about body weight-based movements to achieve balanced strength. Okay? So I'm going to be talking more about lower extremity squatting variation. Okay? There's so much vertical, axial, gravitation-based only squatting. So we're going to balance that with more diagonal. Okay? Where we bring in not only gravitational force with friction. So for that, we just, if it takes changing the equipment, let's be it. Okay? Because the idea is to be strong in every direction to achieve balanced strength. And if you get balanced strength, you get body control. And that's how you make movement easy, like most athletes when you see them playing on the field. So here's a wishbone setup. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do, let's say, a forward squat or angle squat. Okay, which is this line right here. It's a forward squat. I'm incorporating gravitation and friction. I load up, okay, move to the side, okay. And we have different angles, okay, setups, but the important thing for you to see is to see, how I can perform a squatting movement in an angle that mimics that triple flexion extension when you jump, when you come out of the block. Okay. Every time, for example, a sprinter, every time you get out of the block, you sprint. That is a triple flexion extension sample, and it follows the law of specificity or the set principle. But now, if we are able to perform a forward angle squat, then the opposite should be true. How about a backward angle squat in order to offset those two force lines? So here our version of the angle hack squat. Okay, you get on the wishbone, lift, side step, and notice that I'm in an angle already. Okay, and that angle is 90 bar to my body. But notice how how this system facilitates for me to go not only full range of motion, but also eliminate all this unwanted joint stress in my shoulder, elbows, and wrists. There's no need to do that. Okay? The goal is to be able to develop lower body strength in multiple. The idea is to train every angle in every direction without adding unwanted stress in your joints. And that's the key to develop sustainable strength. It's another term for us to call or say balanced strength. When you do that, you eliminate all these unnecessary protocols, created by performing sports-based. You can start incorporating body weight-based movements, okay, where there's no unnecessary joint stress. The body recognizes those movements as natural, and you can easily start adding proper load without getting worried of getting injured as you engage in a fitness or athletic performance program, and that's sustainability. If you like this episode, feel free to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Check us on Facebook, and I'll be, talking about multiple topics regarding questions that I get asked pretty much on a weekly basis. Hope this is helpful. See you next time.